A bit of an adjustment compared to my usual schedule.
Gesundheit.
Thanks. I have mixed feelings about this. Now we wait. Let's see how many actually join. Oh, you're in the back, huh? Hi, Gib. Hi. Oh, wow. Oh, why am I not seeing chat? There we go. I see you have a new chat. Oh, no, that's not supposed to be on. Huh. Looks like I'll be tweaking some settings.
Oops.
Hold on, chat. I was trying to fix stream elements the other day, and damn it, a bit of a hiccup. Edit. It's not supposed to appear. So I delete, and save, and then we go back. There we go. Finally, there we go. Nice and cinematic and clean. My bad, chat. I'm not gonna break my promise. My promise of a cinematic experience. Nice and clean. Who's with you today? That is Vesper. She's always been with me. Let's see. Cameras are not optimal. I thought I'd be streaming alone today, but lo and behold, that is not the case.
Hello.
Yes, that's Vesper. Anyway, where were we? Mika the bird says hello. I found you on Instagram and I finally get to catch one of your streams. Welcome. Instagram, huh? I haven't posted in a while, haven't I? Maybe I work on something this week. Did you know I actually have a bunch of clips that is just sitting in on my hard drive that I haven't uploaded? Oh, one of your fans is here, Vesper. It's Biker Mommy.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Geb, says Driver. I was wondering why I kept hearing Geb talking if the YouTube tab was closed. And then I realized I left Twitch open. Yes. Here we are, streaming. Friday. First light adjust. There we go. Wow. How about we will tweak some stuff real quick. It should be here. Hi, Rex. And wait, who else? A bunch of people. Sorry. I'm just double checking things, okay? That's that. There's that. Yep. Yeah. Double checking the volume, making sure it's not too loud. It's just right. Hi, Mafia Man. Should I be wearing my other outfit? Yep, that's it. We're enlarging the overlay. I can't. It's too small. There we go. Only 10 people, yes, because I'm streaming at a rather odd hour. Most of my fellow countrymen are asleep. Thank goodness. What have you been up to recently, Gab? I have recently pursued a new hobby of things. I will reveal it in time. Eventually. Why, thank you, Proto. Sure, Gus, go have fun. It's actually early for me, says Mika. I'm usually asleep right now since I work overnights. I see. I figured I'd adjust the schedule around 2 hours later than normal because, hmm, yeah, yeah. Biker says, so when did you plan to come here to Sweden so I can treat you to a meal and a tour? Oh my. One, probably when I have enough disposable money to go afford me a ticket and lodgings, unless you're gonna offer. And then two, I need a good reason why I'm gonna be visiting. Hmm. Whatever could it be? No, Jelly, I'm not. Are you talking about Red Note? Xiao Hongshu? Hi there, Matthew. I'm glad you're steaming around this time, continues Firehawk. I don't have to stay up until incredibly late now. Okay. I'm not sure what your time zone is, but I just came back from field days as Star. It was fun. I'm glad. Little Blue King. What an interesting name. When you pop into my head, I imagine you to be like this tall. Little Blue King. The meal, says Biker Mommy, and the music festival. Unfortunately, I am nowhere near financially capable to travel other countries. I really am not. You see, I envy my friends who seemingly is able to just go to cons and whatnot ever so freely. It's as if their availability when it comes to buying plane tickets and booking places to stay is just so easy to come by. How big of a smile is possible? It's not the most pleasant. You see, there's a fine line between a charming smile and a full blown creepy grin. Like, right? Yeah. What's this? Well, 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 if it isn't Axiomatum. Hi there. Mike is so sad. Maybe I can pay you to come here and come to Comic Con. Sure. Yeah, I don't know about that. How about you start by small level support, like here on stream? At my brain rot. Goodness. Last night, before I was heading to bed, I happened upon a streamer on TikTok. Not only were they so low energy, they're like, oh yeah, remember I have a goal here. Just give your gifts, okay? Just donate and like so I can meet this other person. Yeah, like how presumptuous! Goodness me, has this person no shame? Yeah, no. Come on. Terrible, isn't it, Vess?
Exactly. That's just you're sitting there expecting them to do this for you.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's adjust angle. Ah, shit. Oh, I can't. Oops. Why can't I fix the camera? There we go. There we go. This is a better Vesper cam. Probably on the left. Join here on the table. Steady. Perfect. Also, lighting is good.
Hello.
Was it me? No, Blue King. It wasn't you. Of course, I'm not gonna name them. I still respect privacy. It seems like Biker Mommy is absolutely enthralled by Vespers. Oh, what is causing my delay? Close window. There. Because I'm 3D printing. I mean,
Oh.
it's because I'm not 3D printing. Let me change the music. I'm not feeding this. Oh, it's another day. No, I'm just joking. Not that doomer crap. I'm running through my Spotify chat. Just give me a minute. Let's play this one for now. So it's app to the level. Shucks. Yeah, this one. Funny for you, I have fixed the darn 3D printer. Lucky for you, Axiom, I have no idea how to 3D print. I have no 3D printers at all. Nope, no, I'm totally not printing something made out of PETG or anything. Multicolor printing, AMS systems, beyond my scope of knowledge. Can I have your dino nugget? Dino nuggets? Thank you, Mike. No, Mika. I keep on calling you Mike. Iris says, well, if I'm not wrong, I think Geb has done some adjustments on both Geb's and Vesper's avatars. So that makes sense why they both look gorgeous. That's flattering. But there is a grain of truth to that. I did adjust, well, you know how it is. We buy a base in Gumroad and we tweak it in Blender and in Substance Painter. In Vesper's case over here, she's the Luna Beast. Now, normally Luna Beasts here are lupine, as they call it. Like, they got the whole wolf aesthetic. But I said, why not tap into, like, the ancestry of the Nova Beast, which the Luna Beast is from? And that would be dragons. So, there you
Exactly.
are. Right?
So I don't have that wet nose that'll press against your hand in the middle of the night and scare you awake.
Mm-hmm. Does Vesper have Twitch? Well, she does to moderate, but I don't think she's gonna start streaming anytime soon. She already has her hands
Yeah.
full with moderating and with yours truly. Yeah, she has a longer snout than me.
That a bad thing?
No, it's totally okay. Now, where were we? Hi there, Vox. Nikolai. Narpi. What's Narpi? But she's cuter than you. Oh, that is undeniable. You see, me and Vesper have a balance of traits. Cuteness is more on her thing. Really. Undeniably so. Right.
Even then, you're still cute.
Man. I really hope whatever is arriving this Saturday or Sunday is going to work. You see, I've ordered a multitude of hardware upgrades. It's predominantly all for you guys, really. Driver says, well, Geb is cute in his own. Well, Driver, that sounds like you're just giving me a passing grade in a quiz. Like, yeah, okay.
You're better than a passing grade.
Oh, Geb's like a 5 out of 10. No, it was originally like a 4. But then, you know what? So the parents don't complain to me. Let's make it a 5. I am absolutely your voice. That's husky. Wow, you even have the term reverb in your name. So you have like echoes when you speak. And thank you. Huh. Has anything else happened in regards to your right hand? Luckily, my controller is cooperating for now. I don't know how long that's gonna last though. So I've taken the safe route and I ordered myself some replacements. I got myself a set of indexes. It's already here. They feel absolutely premium and wonderful. But I don't have my base stations though, unfortunately. They're still in transit. You'll never catch me alive, Mrs. Action. Are you real? 110%. She has a mommy voice. I don't think she has a mommy voice. She has a more of a cool, independent sister sort of a tone to it. Mommy is like more sultry, you know. Like I was about to do the voice, but I'm not gonna do it because somebody's gonna clip it. I'm watching you, Memo and Axiom.
You two better behave.
What is it? Dom nom nom. Ah. Time to drink water. I wanna see funny face tracking. Alright, Axiom, sure. So be it. I shall hydrate for you. Where is my mango juice? Vesper definitely has a mommy voice. Oh my. You have 2 votes, Ves.
Oh no.
Oh my. Yes, I just bit the bottle open, chat, because it's really tight, man. Yeah, there you go. Happy. Where were we? I love the soup. Thanks. People a funny face track. Thank you, Ton. What favor are you asking for, Akio? There's not much I can do, you know. Especially when it comes to matters about money. I'm, I'm kind of broke. Yeah. Yeah, Gab. You better behave. says Vesper. There we go. It's Vesper Cam. Enjoy, Chan.
Oh, I'm in the middle of messaging someone.
She's messaging someone, Chan. Unfortunate.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Zoom out just a tiny, teeny bit. There we go. There. So we have the whole like game loading screen thing. I look so small. It's because I'm far. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to McDonald's. Do you want anything? I would like one hot fudge sundae, please. No, make it two. I am quite the sweet tooth. I absolutely love the hot fudge sundae. Hi there, Slytherin. You have mentioned already, but I missed it. Has there been any progress in getting the refund for the double charge? Oh, no, I checked the app before streaming. It's still in process. Man, I just want my money back. Him looks like a child from the back camera. Should I change the angle? Boy who doesn't want money. I know. Hi there, Thea. Are you like Portuguese or Eastern European? No, I am Filipino. No, it's a uncommon accent. This is certainly a unique atmosphere. Look. You go to my Twitter, you're going to see a video. It's my pinned post, same exact post as this. And it's me saying, I want to bring something different to the creative sphere of content creation when it comes to VR chat. Something different, you know. When you go to the VR chat category, all you see is the same thing. Hip swaying, little clothing, cuddle puddles with arm warmers and leg warmers that are striped. I'm not saying these things are bad. It's just I'm trying to wedge in something else. Something more down to earth. Hindi ka ba nangangalay? Sabi ni Thea. Hindi. Actually, I'm relaxed this way, see? I can like lean back, sure. Firehawk says you're definitely a very good entertainer, even without gimmicks that attempt to steal your attention. That's true. I try my best to keep my streams as free of gimmicks as possible, and it's nothing but conversations. I flip a coin here and there, change the angle every so often. But I don't have soundboards, no silly memes, no nothing disruptive. I am simply another choice in one's television channels. Brain rot. No, thank you. I'm adding it to my world rotation. It looks like such a peaceful place. This one? You mean Seventh Heaven? Yeah, of course. It's a very nice place. Hold up. Tune down the fly speed. We are. Not the best camera work, but here we are. Just buy a bar. I know it looks a little run down, but I still call it home-ish. Maybe I have a thing to like run down places, you know. It really reminds me of a certain year where I had things tough. Reminds me of the things I had to go through. Maybe this angle's better. No. Here. There we go. Very storyteller like. Anyway, where were we? Reading back. Driver says, what I hate the most on streamers is the zap thing. It's a big no-no for me. Oh, you mean the pie shock?
Oh,
Uh, you know, if you're a glutton for punishment and you don't mind being like a cattle prodded for the entertainment of the masses in exchange for coin, then go ahead. Go for it. If you think that's the winning strategy for chat to inflict pain on you and laugh about it. Look at that fool being electrocuted. Here, take a pittance of money so I can continue the torture for you to endure. Oh, a bit of a hot take, isn't it? It's just not my thing, chat. If it's yours and it works, cool. Now, anyway, where were we? Firehawk says part of the charm with your stream is that it largely hinges on a chat that isn't too large or too small. And it's always nice to see the same faces. Yeah, who would wear that thing? Axiom. Probably would. Like 10 of them. Went to the gym yesterday, asked Andreas. I'm really sore today. What to do? Oh, hello, hand tracking. Sorry about that. Bad life advice edition. Get a massage, a deep tissue one. They say the more muscle damage you endure, the more will grow. So go damage your body even more by getting a massage after a workout. Mhm. Rack bone noises. Yeah, go to the chiropractor while you're at it. Yeah. Mm. Mika says it seems just barbaric. Look, we live in a era where a vast majority of people online are after quick, cheap, disposable entertainment. Make out of that what you will. But then again, I'm being a hypocrite here. One of the YouTubers I follow is named Houston Jones. he's the he's one of the funniest guys out there. He's a bodybuilder. He's a very silly personality. And then he tries all sorts of things to inflict pain on him, like the elastic bands being let go on his like back, or getting a mace being smacked on his thighs. And he will always pretend that he's not in pain because he's the strongest man in the world. So he claims. So I get the humor. It's funny. The thing is, he makes it funny. He makes it funny. You have a different fit today. It's just angry snow. Mm, yes. Look, I have a casual spin to me every now and then. Vesper seems to prefer her field outfit. It just matches both the work necessity look and just being cold enough.
Don't really like arguing.
Enjoying people's pain. You know, okay, chat, I'm a big fan of Jackass. Like, ever since they were still releasing things on, like, VHS, I think. So, yeah. But the thing is, the thing is, it's funny. It's funny and there's good production value to it. It's not cheap. And Jackass is like the best. A little sad that, well, they're not complete anymore, and a vast majority of them are just plain old. Why are you a Nova Beast? My friend, I am anything but a Nova Beast. Matthew says, hello, my name is Johnny Knoxville, and this is the Twitch stream. And then, tang, nang, nang. Yep, But that is not the topic of discussion tonight. Hello, Alan Fine. I'm too young for TS. TS? This? I thought TS meant topic starter. Usually that's what's in the forums, like Reddit or.
Language changes a lot. So, even sometimes I'm unfamiliar with.
Why, we have a crow in chat. Thank you, the crow. TS means the. Okay. Thank you, Trixa. TypeScript, says Little Bro Codes. Of course, it would mean something else to him.
Oh.
Mika says, it's one thing to do as a test to yourself and to see what you can endure while getting some attention for it. It's another to subject yourself to whims of someone who just wants to hurt you for a laugh. Precisely. Why would you abbreviate a word that already just has one syllable to it? This. Do you lack the intellectual capacity to type out a 4-letter word? Man.
I mean, I know for a fact some of my teachers, like in, say, middle school, high school, even some of my college professors still have issues with students like using texting language whenever they're writing essays.
Yeah, but you see, there should be like a clear divide between what's acceptable as an acronym and not. Like, if you know what I mean, if YKWIM, that's a whole slew of words. But TS, this, shortening an already short word. Gosh, what's happening to today's generation? I love the peaceful music. It gives this vibe. What? It gives this stream a peaceful vibe. Wow. What species are you? You know, I really have to come up with a definite answer to that because I'm a mix of things. Yes, Axiom, yes. I think I'm gonna take a small nap, says Mika. Got work in about 4 hours. Go ahead. Rest well. Thank you, Sunny Bay. What are we talking about today? Not much, actually. Just passing the time. I wish a certain person would pass by. By a certain person, I mean the philanthropist. Simply because I wish to thank them for last time. My OBS ran into well, it did not sync up with stream elements, and well, they gave a bit of support my way and did not see the alert. Sadly, it I only found out when I was like looking at my like PayPal after stream, like, oh my gosh, he was there. So yeah, for Philanthropist, if by any chance you see this, thank you again, truly from the bottom of my heart. Hi there, Varsky. Oh, welcome. Travis says, Geb, how's the subscription thingy going you've been working on? I hope we'll be seeing it anytime soon. it's been. It's still there. It's still there. I've just delayed it a little bit until I get my hardware. I don't want to be on a roll with recording and then all of a sudden, bang, my right controller dies. And yes, I will still try my best to make it be released this May. Maybe. Perchance. Most definitely. I would like to know what model that is. It's gorgeous. This is my own personal kit bash between the Volper and the Hyanid. Speaking of vibes, says Astro, I'm listening to this in the background with my headphones on while being in my encampment then. Being in comfy sleeping bag mode. Is it perchance nighttime? With the sounds of insects, their melodies playing. Hopefully with the rustling of the leaves as well and the cold kiss of forest air. Oh, that would be nice. Who do you consider so-called regulars on your stream? Well, if you're actively engaging, you haven't been banned within one session, and you come say hi and hello, I do believe that's what you would call a regular. But who precisely consider? Well, I've been seeing you more often here, so I can probably count you as one. There's Action, and there's so many more whose names I clearly cannot recall at the moment. What is going on? One sec, chat. Let me see how this is going. Ah, there we go. It's at 48 a.m. Geb's vibe is so relaxing and actually becomes invigorating. For some reason, I've been able to do many things I've been delaying for months only because I have one of your streams on background. Oh my, flattering. Forgetting Vesper. Now she's just busy, right, Ves? She's still here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just moderating, so don't worry.
All right. Where were we? No, no, she's not. Oh, why? Thank you for the cheer. Ah, Twitch, will you look at that? Your cheers and supports, your bitties that you send, actually shows up on stream now in a non-intrusive way. Yes, so there's a bit of validation, of course. I'm back, this time on Twitch. Why, welcome back, Crow. Oh, does it work for tips too? Axiom, there's but one way to find out. I can see the bits being cheered in my activity feed now. Maybe some generous soul would maybe try the exclamation point tip function and see if it indeed works. Hi, Caden. Okay, Codes. A lot of you, along with the rest of chat, have been saying you really like my avatar. Is it okay if I ask what particular trait or physicality do you like? What catches your eyes? My ears, perchance? Hi. The glasses that I don't have because these are goggles. The color, says Varsky. My very simple printing, sorry. My very simple color palette. I like the combination of blue and black, says Vin. Your eyes and your voice. Ah. Simple is sometimes king, says Dylan. Thanks. That is Vesper, chat, again, to those curious.
Hi.
She's moderator, companion, and everything in between. So, yeah, have a
Okay.
good look at her, chat. Have a good look before she bans you. I'm just joking. She's nice.
Only if you misbehave.
Only if you misbehave. I suppose the uniqueness. What makes it unique then? Firehawk says, I think it's just the contrast of light blue and dark gray, along with simple features. It doesn't jump out on me. True. I try my best to meld in with the world, so I actually have a very subdued palette. A subdued yet realistic palette. Seems to be working great. Thank you for your input, guys. I appreciate that. Driver says, oh, I would say your whole existence. But if we get to the specifics, I'd say the matte black skin. No idea why it's catchy. Is it because it's uncommon? Hmm. Speaking of black skin, ooh, that's terrible. Hi, Mystic. Welcome to the stream. I'm so. Oh, I met your avatar. You're the one with the fantastic cornrow dreads. I think it was. I'm dead, chat. I'm dead. Whoops. Go to the VR chat channel on my Discord. You'll see what I mean, chat. Okay. Yeah, you look for Mystic's photos. Cut the camel, you can. It's fine, chat. Mystic's a super duper duper close friend of mine. She's like one of 4 people I trust. I should get an avatar of my Crozona, says Sekio. I just don't know who to commission or how much it'd cost. It would depend on what sort of crow you want. Do you want it anthropomorphized, more beastly, or more kimono, if that makes sense? Or do you want to be literally a crow? Because there is a rather cute crow avatar that's, I believe, free on Gumroad. You should ask Axiom Atom about that. Why, thank you, Sarge. Oh, the crow Avi, remember? Your little bird. An anchor, wing arms. Ah, if only Matthew Sunseeker really pursued being an owl, we'd have another unique member in our troop. I think it's time to change the music. What's this? Yo, man, half tempted to like play through my Spotify right now. There are some tracks I really want to listen to. But Millie, there we go. Mystic says, I've been playing around with hairstyles of late. I'm glad it turned out pretty good. Yeah, you rocking the look very naturally. It looks great. Axiom is very, very much in adoration of his bird avatar. It's so Axiom. I don't know why. Especially when he does the little thing where he bobs his head left and right. It's as cute as it is low IQ. I first need to get new VR controllers, says Sekio. My left controllers are drinking. Drifting, so
Drinking.
drinking.
Yes. So
Well,
take him for a little dip in the water. Okay.
yep. Whoops. So action. It's his brand. Ah, yes, my drinking controllers. They're drinking up the drift. Mm-hmm. This song is called. What is this called? Meline by Cornelio. Varsky says they need to get their PC upgraded before I can even turn my PC. Oh, it's that. That's not called an upgrade. That's called repairing it or completing it. I remember having an acquaintance speak that, oh, my rig is almost complete. It's just lacking a GPU. Ah, congrats, Mystic, to them. We have a Discord server, by the way. Jarvis, Discord, quick. I mean, type exclamation point Discord. There you go. Yes. Oh, my back. My back. How's it look if I zoom out? Pesky handrail. Maybe here. Zoomed in. Hi, chat. That'd be pretty cool if Jarvis responds on command. Unfortunately, Jarvis turned into this funny looking bald android made out of vibranium. And he has a massive zit on his forehead. Two claws. What is this? Street lamp serenade. You guys and your flattery. Here I am out tab fixing my Spotify. Oh, you're cute. Ooh, Blender is making me angry, says Axiom. Are you finally working on your avatar? Did you make it a point to work on
Poor
your
bird.
new bird while I'm streaming? Ooh, I'm only gonna do Blender work if Gib is live.
Mm.
I can smell your breath if it's too close. Oh, you know what I mean? When I exhale. I know what you mean. It's called breath sense. Nice and minty, very warm. Geb, say hi to my girlfriend Maria. Well, a most pleasant day to you, Maria. I hope your companion is making you adequately happy. No, I'm trying to practice with the Nardos as action. Specifically, the thing I want to do ain't working. Ah. Oh well. Alright, Ryo. What is your wager? There has to be one, you know. Yes, I did, Romaine. It's very simple, really. Just a bunch of scales around my eyes. Doom. Ryo, what am I flipping the coin for? I don't just flip coins for anybody or anything. I shall return, says Mystic. I stopped by since I'm home, but now it's time to clean up. Mystic, go clean up, and if you want to have a wager, just let me know, okay? And better luck next time, Ryo. Hey Geb, I love your videos, says Kangaroo. Ah, Instagram. You know what's funny? A lot of people have been surprisingly following me on Instagram, and I am very much surprised as I am flattered. Uh, I never really expect to see so much. So thanks. I'm just glad you like what I'm doing. This one. I like this. Vesper looks like a bodyguard back there. She pretty much is. Look at how menacing she is. Pretty much never drops the agent aura that she has. Her smile is just as deadly as she is. She wields absolute power in streams, you know. She, yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna say any further. He bans a lot of people, chat. Bans a lot of people.
With good reason.
With good reason. With good reason, don't worry. But yeah. What's the truth and what is a lie? One lets you sleep at night, the other doesn't. What kind of reasons? 1. Trauma dumping. 2. You're just plain annoying. 3. Brain rot. And the usual spam and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go as it's getting late, says Codes. I'm literally falling asleep while watching, as always. It was nice being here and have a good one. See you around, Codes. Yes, you bring your brain rot here. Mm-mm. Out the door you go. It's already been an hour. You're right. Time seems to be flying by quite fast, huh? Hmm. It means I'm only here another hour and a half. Goodness me. Probably because I have good company. And by good company, I mean you. Ah, oh yes. So, gotta make sure not super zoomed in. Then again, it is rather cinematic this close, isn't it? Enough blender for today. It hasn't even been 30 minutes, Axiom. Giving up so quickly. No toilet head thing. No. Can you say goodbye in your language? Paalam. Now you just need a cigar in hand and you have a French movie. Unfortunately, I don't smoke, Chan. I don't smoke, I don't really drink. Just on occasion. Sake, rice wine, beer. Not my thing, sorry. I keep you company though. Thank you, sis. I am now learning how much I can't draw my own sauna. Burns are hard. I can imagine. Ah, it isn't Anubis. My regular. Thank goodness it's Big Shot. You don't do that to your liver and lungs. Yeah, I don't. The only real vice I have, Chad, is probably spending too much on VR. Now that I think about it. Man. And motorcycles. That's it. I take care of fish, I ride motorcycles, and I do a lot of learning of Blender, Substance Painter, and
You also take
Unity.
care of plants.
And I take care of plants, yes. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. You know what's funny? Me and Vesper are actually playing through the Baldur's campaign. We are almost done with Act 1. And that's like 5 days worth of playing. Long sessions. We surely have been taking our time. Don't smoke, says Varsky. It's a bad habit as I'm a smoker and been trying to quit. I used to vape for a bit when vaping first came out, like, I don't know, 14 years ago, 13. Uh, Things were very primitive back then. They were called cartomizers. They were the little vape pens, and then they evolved into the little pipe bomb looking things, the mechanical ones. And fast forward to now, it's just all disposable things, bad for the environment. I'm so glad I weaned myself from vaping. As much of a delight as it was, nice and sweet, huge clouds, very satisfying to see. It, it's expensive. And now the symptoms are starting to show up. Multiple cases of popcorn lung and whatnot are showing up on the news. What race or class are you playing? I what do you call the angel things again? The ASMRs. I was tempted to go Dragonborn, but the Dragonborn seems very hamstrung in Baldur's Gate 3. Doesn't even have dark vision, really. As for my class, I downloaded a mod. It's called the Death Knight class. I also have another mod which makes you into a superhero. It's kind of funny. Hi there, Mr. Piano. My goodness, me popular. I'm still the same old guy who had social anxiety standing by the corner over at what's the name of the map? Sovereign's Chill Home. The last time we saw each other. But nice to see you. I hope everything's going well your way. Nice of you to drop by. I feel like he's watching a different chat. I have two. I have two chats I'm tending. Big Chat says, don't get me started in vapes. I hate how it's somehow appealing to little kids, especially the younger generations. I am not a supporter of people that vape if they're below 18 years old, chat. If you're an adult, do whatever the heck you want. It's not my problem anyway. I am an Arakokra, of course. What a surprise. Hmm. I'm just going to lurk for a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, yes, I do, Kira's Arts. Meron, punta ka na lang dun. Mas maganda yung view. It's wide. It's like 60 FPS. 1440p. Translator, I don't understand anything. Pardon me, I'm sticking to English because that is the language my viewers predominantly use. I love your moderator's glasses. You mean Vespers? The gold.
Huh?
Hard not to like, right? Look at that. The way she cocks her head to the side. This exudes this aura of both confidence and elegance. Mm-hmm. What do you know? Ain't she just beautiful, Jan? She's getting camera shy. Let's move on the camera. Mm-hmm. So, what's this? You should ride the motorcycle, Nicholas. It's if you want to feel what it's like to be free, no better way to embody it than be on a saddle of two wheels. Really. Other Cupers. You can put the glasses on your hand. Yeah, Vesper can grab her glasses, as you saw. I can also put down my goggles. So you wish. A rinky dink moped. Are you talking about the good old 50cc scooters from before? Yeah, they're good. I love mopeds. Very comfy to drive. Carabao. Is that supposed to be a play on Carabao? When did VR chat become so fancy? Fancy. Why, these are just basic things. Notice I don't have any of those overdone, overly flashy special effects that most people have. Ooh, look. Swirly magic. What VR headset do you recommend? If you can, get the quest, bro. No question. Did you create your model yourself? I didn't create it from scratch. I got the base off of Gumroad, the Vulper and the Hyanid. And then I did a lot of modifications, kit bashing. And I especially tweaked the shape keys to better accommodate the facial expressions I wish to convey. You better hurry. It's a discontinued product. Lucky if you can still find one. I do believe there's still a few listings over at Amazon and eBay too. Welcome back, Matthew. It has full face tracking. Ira's Arts and Bao. Oh, you mean Bao? Nah, I want some Bao. Ira Bao. Good morning, John Paul Rodelias Ramones. Wow, look at you, writing out your full name like you're in class. Thank you, Yarvi. I'm maybe one day, Christopher. That's still a uncertain prospect, but a lot of people have been pushing me to do so. What's the emblem? What's the emblem on your two outfits? This thing. It's simple. It's the arrow on my hand. Why? Because I am the head of a certain organization. Mhm. A self-employed boss. That's why whenever I complain about work, I complain about myself. Yes, sometimes the own rules that you set can come back and strangle you. What's this? Gib, what do you think of better, PAS or FIFA? The last soccer game I played was on the PlayStation 2. It was called Red Card. I had fun just slide tackling the opposite team, and I would always get red cards. I have a friend that lives close to the state I live in and also wants a pro, says Matthew. My disclosure is in danger to become a race. Who buys it first? You know what to do, Matthew. It would be sordidly disappointing if you were unable to acquire the Quest Pro headset right as you have completed your fundraising. Imagine you have the money, but then the treasure that you were striving for is all but gone, and you're left with inferior choices. You know, Anubis, I have a question. I know you're there. Why are you not watching over at the purple place instead? I'm curious. Good morning, Kiro. Magandang umaga. Mag-aalas 6 na pala. Ay, bilis ng panahon. Bilis ng oras. Luluto ba ako ng almusal? Or, How old are you? Forever 27. Laugh. It seems it's within sec use. But yet, go ahead, grab it while it's still there. While you still can. Yes, that was Tagalog, chat. I'm Filipino. Never hid that fact. You're Tagalog. My throat is rather thirsty. Hi there, Garmon. Wait, look at Vesper while I drink water. James.
Hi, Chad.
Come on, Ves, keep him entertained.
Hmm. You asked me to entertain them, but I have no clue.
Vesper, how much do you like the FNAF lore and fandom?
Oh, no. Come
Who,
on.
who is your favorite character in it? Well,
You really want me to tiss about?
yeah. At least
Oh.
that. At least that.
Distracted Andreas said, "How's your day been, Ves?" Oh,
Saved by Andreas.
it's been nice so far.
Yeah, we're banning Andreas.
First time in a long while that I've actually been able to, well, not leave the house. So, for this, I'd have work, classes. I didn't have a free day whatsoever. But now I do. Relax for a bit.
Yes.
What species are you, Vesper? Well, I'm a Luna beast. Basically a form derived of the Nova beast. So although most of my species tend to be more canine. The little dog noses and all that, big fluffy mane. And that's not really my aesthetic.
Mostly dragon, as Anubis says, yes.
Yeah, mostly dragon.
Mostly dragon. Dragon, these beautiful features that you can see. Yep.
So I have a few lines on my ear, so I have some, well, bat to me as well.
A bit of bat, yeah. Like how I have a bit of fox sprinkled into me, or wolf. Vesper has a bit of bat as well. Definitely not ears of corn, no, but bat, alright? I saw that.
Yeah.
And I do, what did I say?
Ears of corn?
No, I said nothing. So where were we, chat? Right. No get behave. Oh, I am, no worry. What do you like doing in your free time? I like playing games, watching stuff. That will sharpen my skill set. Totally. What games do you play? As I've said, recently I've been taking my foray into Baldur's Gate 3 with Vesper. We've also been playing a whole lot of Earth Defense 4. It's really fun. Save Mother Earth. But if it's on my own, you would usually find me grinding out Korean MMORPGs like Black Desert before, or Lost Ark, going way back into Ragnarok Online. I would also find comfort in playing the Battlefield games. I especially love Battlefield 1. It's probably my favorite in the series. I've tried Final Fantasy XIV. It was the most boring MMORPG I've ever played. God, how? Global cooldowns? Really? The main quest was such a slog, I lost interest in it like halfway through. Sorry for those that are enjoying it, but look, I've played a lot of MMORPGs. Guild Wars 2 is vastly superior, with everything being dynamic, given that it's almost as old. Sure, the story isn't Final Fantasy, but if you're after Final Fantasy as a story, just play the standalone games instead. They're beautiful. But MMORPG? Yeah, no. Dear Firehawk, have you played Ark? Survival evolved, of course. Monster Hunter. Here's the thing, Monster Hunter Wilds is an amazing game, but also amazingly short. There's very little content. I mean, there is very little content. Have you ever tried playing Mobile Legends? Yes, back then, during pandemic, I believe. Hmm, a little bit. I was curious, and it was actually fun. The enemies you would face were clearly not on the same capacity as one would face in, say, League of Legends or Dota 2. I haven't tried Ascendant, I only have the normal one. My favorite thing to do there was find the big tortoise and build the base on it. Have you played any Persona games? I haven't finished any of them. I played a bit of 5 and I think a bit of 4. Was it Persona Golden? Ah, unfortunate. How do you go about designing your Sona, Soseki? I just made mine D&D themed. uh, well, how do I even start? I drew shapes I liked. I picked colors I preferred. And the hardest part was the physique. None of the bases being sold on Gumroad actually gave me quite exactly what I wanted. So I took it upon myself to learn how to use 3D programs like Blender and, you know, sculpt things to how I want it to be. Have assets that I prefer. Like my eyebrows, for example. That this thing is completely custom, so I modeled that, and then I made some shape keys. That's why it's so expressive. Mm. Normally, the Volper, which is my head, doesn't have eyebrows. It's just painted on. The ones I have are like have actual topology. Range, isn't it? Have I've chosen what is clearly a fox slash wolf avatar, and I molded it into this bastardization of a Nova base that you can see right now. I originally started as a Nova chat, hence my keepsake being the goggles above my head. See you, big shot. Good night. How do they say it? Guten Nacht. I think so. Thank you says the body shape is very hard. As an avian first torture, there's so many different types of avian antelopes. That is something my friend Axiom 2 has been having trouble with. He's a fun. Yes, a griffin. So you can imagine how tricky that is to find. But luckily enough, there was this one avatar we saw. I think it's called the Burbo, which pretty much fits the bill. Do you like swing music? Sure, every now and then. Zacchaeus says for sure I have wing arms, and lots of avian antlers have talon arms and wings on the back. Oh, those types. The what do you call them? The kenkus or something. But having actual wing arms are, yeah, I prefer those too. I find them more charming, really. Action says for some reason every VRC bird avatar has either hands the size of Africa or so thin I feel like I'm wearing a corset. That is why you go sculpted over at Blender Axiom. Who's in the back? A first time chatter, too. That's Vesper, my companion. Here, have a look.
Hello.
She has face tracking too, just like me, chat. We actually use the same hardware. She has a Quest Pro, I have a Quest Pro. She uses slimes, and I use slimes as well.
Exactly.
What? Quite the mirror image of myself. Also, I handle her avatar, so the ear tracking that you see and everything, I manage to get it working to a sufficient degree. The expressiveness works good. Encapsulates her cuteness. Vesper just grinning ear to ear because she's like eating up all the flattery. My goodness. I bet she loves hearing this. Okay, camera shy, let's go. Why is your quality so immaculate? Immaculate, really. I do have hiccups every now and then. But thanks. Once I get my new headset, says Sekio, I'll start working on figuring out who to commission for an avatar of my sonar. My goodness. Starting an avatar made from scratch will surely cost a pretty penny. You may want to go browse through whatever is available in Gumroad, Jinxie, or Boot that is very close to the vision that you want, and then having it modified instead would definitely be the cheaper alternative. Gus says that's why I like the newer male Rixonium model. I had the masculine shape I wanted, and I did have childbearing hips like some of the other avatars. Yes. Hider style. Well, make the most of your break. Go grab a snack, get some fresh air. Hi there, Yennefer. How hard would it be to learn how to make my own? For those of you that don't know, I actually made an avatar from scratch, aka from a cube, and it has full face tracking. It took me 1 month of all nighters just to learn from having zero knowledge at all. Oh man, yeah. It doesn't look the best, but it's certainly something I walked around with for a while. And then it took a couple of more months to a year to polish up my skills to a degree I would call passable. Good night, Andreas. Shishik, this is a Quest Pro. If you haven't been listening. I'm eating while watching. Oh, share some of your food, will you? Hello, Fox. Hi there, Nanashi. Hope you're doing good nowadays. Last I checked, your feathers were rather heavy with rain. Thank you. Go to Gumroad, Boot, or Jinxie, and you look for an avatar base that is very close to how you want you to look like, and then just have it edited instead. Much, much cheaper. I didn't want to spend anything. That's why I just do everything on my own. I ask my friends for help, like, hey, you're really good with Blender. Can you teach me how to do this and that? And well, lo and behold, I've been graced with their knowledge and patience. And yeah, I've never commissioned the art or anything, Cha. I've always just wanted to do it myself. It may not look the best, but at least it's been made by my own hands. And that is such a fulfilling feeling. Style says, good news, I finished a doodle of my new persona. Might post it on Discord if I get the courage to. Go ahead. Remember, it's fair game. People might start pointing fingers. Ooh, he has a funny, like, looking head. We again, says Kiru. You give off detective on a break vibes like the voice in the BGM. So mysterious, so calming. Yeah, that's precisely what I'm going for. Whenever I stream, that means like I'm like off duty or on like break. Kind of animal is your OC? Oh, you tell me. Ah, Gus says they found Substance Painter definitely intimidating at first, but it took them a while to get used to it. Which is true. Until now, I only know the very basics when it comes to Substance Painter. Also, no, I'm not French. See you around, Barsky. Good luck. I didn't know how the menu sounds on. There. Hello, friend in the background. Said friend in background. Chat.
Hello, my name's Vesper. I am Geb's moderator
Hmm.
and his companion.
Hmm.
So, hello, chat.
We do funny stuff together, chat. Like going to anomalous places and things. Ooh, look at that black hole in that barn. When I mean we do funny things together, notice I have a brooch, chat. And notice my backhand, the arrow. Look at Vesper too. Of all the orange, black, and white that she has but one differing color on the back of her hand, which is a blue arrow as well, just like what I have. And she also has the brooch.
Mhm.
So yeah. Hi, Vesper says man. Alana Christie. I'm from the Philippines. Geb, don't lose the topic of conversation. Topic of conversation? I was merely sharing what me and Vesper do. Actions behind closed curtains. No cameras, things. Are you guys like Wise and Belle from ZZZ? Nah. This inspires me to make continue my noir novels as Sekyu. Sounds like a very interesting passion project. Well, go ahead. Why don't you finish it? I'm slouching, chat. That's why my camera isn't zoomed out this much. You're gonna get bored. True. Secrecy, no. Wish me luck finishing my shift. Gab streaming on my breaks is already a boost. Good luck with your shift, Mess. Outlaw, my day has been going okay. Well, it could be better if my darn bank would already settle my double charge issue. But what can I do? Your face tracking blew my mind. How do you do it? You go to Blender, customize the shape keys according to how you want it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Most of the shape keys, the blend shapes, as they call it in VR chat, most of the blend shapes for face tracking in avatars I see are actually very subdued. I was inspired a whole lot by Royalty Griffin, if you know them. They're the one that made the face tracking for my Nova Beast. Um, that you have seen. So I liked how exaggerated and expressive it was. So I did the same thing over to the kit bash that you're seeing right now. Man, I didn't think it would be so much work. So yeah, Royalty, if and by any chance you see this, you do such a great job with face tracking. I'm always so excited to see your releases. I saw that you recently released one for the wagon. About time the wagons got some love. I wonder, would it be too much to ask to see the same treatment done to Tokyo Zilla's avatars? I would love to see face tracking on the newest one, the Hydrangea, I think it was called. Or the Tiger Bee. The Tiger Bee already has face tracking, I remember. From Hatnor, was it? Big Vesper stretch. Yes.
Why, you want me to stretch again?
No, we just pointed it at you. Chat, it's time to look at. Oh. That scared me for a moment. I have to look at Vesper's details up close. Normal maps. There you go, chat. Face full of Vesper. Sorry, TikTok. It's too close. But yes. There you go.
Sorry, TikTok.
Isn't she lovely? Wow, that deserves a photo. Keep that post. Do it again. Beautiful. All right, anywho. If we keep the camera on you any longer, you might steal my fans. I'm just joking, of course. She's cute, says Anubis. Right? Oh, pretty, says Sekio. Agree. As you can see clearly, my taste in women is with a simple look. I'm not exactly a fan of so much stuff being placed on your body. Excessive makeup, piercing, especially, I'm not a fan of. Uh, um, the excessive nail polish. I don't know. Maybe I'm an old fashioned guy. Don't even get me started on smokers. I once kissed a smoker before. It was no different from probably daubing my lips on some crushed ash over an ashtray. Terrible. Oh, SECU. CQ. Well, I didn't know. I thought it was SECU. CQ. CQ. All right. Driver says not necessarily old fashioned, just something more, oh, natural. Natural? I never knew how to say that. Time to go for tonight, says Boster. Have a nice dream. See you around. Yes, Koraki. I love your new avatar. Been loving it since you changed it. Thanks. At first, a lot of people were divided about it. I mean, sure, I've been using the same look for a year. Perfectly understandable. But if you look closely, it's not really far off from how I was before. And I dare say it actually encapsulates my personality even better, especially in the expressiveness part. You just need simple stuff, says Outlaw. No need for the extras. Yeah, Anubis knows the company I keep. It's my home. My eyes are itchy. Vesper had to AFK for a moment. And Vesper is gone. Yes. I'm looking at the introductions. I see somebody named Lunar Amethyst. Oh wow, nice. Solnam. I like how there's like a cup of coffee. iSpeak says, sees Gebu's Kajit impersonation video, likes and scrolls and sees his live. Well, this one welcomes you to the live broadcast that I am doing. You are most welcome to make yourself comfortable. Stay a while and listen. Kuya Geb's brooding voice is so calming. Brooding? I sound brooding? Me? Good morning, Sam. Hello, Gookie. Welcome back, CQ. I'll see you around, Outlaw. Thank you for dropping by. You'll probably see me again on Sunday or perchance Monday. Oh wow, something itchy in my eye. If there's one feature I wish headsets could have that is an optional upgrade, it's like an eye drop like dispenser. Imagine in the press of a button, you could have like rehydrating eye drops to spray towards your eyeballs, right? Yes, Matthew. CQ says, I'm brand new to this channel actually. I randomly came across you on TikTok. Well, do you like what you see? Voxel says you have the perfect voice for story reading. Chad, did you know I have 5 stories already recorded? Once I get at least maybe 8, I will release them for subscription. I know a lot of people have been asking for the audiobooks, have been pushing me to get. When is it going to be finished? When are you going to start reading stories for us? I'm working on it, Chad. Trust me. Cheap barrier of entry too. Single digit price for those that just want the audio version, and then double digit price for those that wants the video and audio version. I will be reading these things here in VR chat. I'm also keen on finding out how many people are willing to subscribe to the service if ever I release it. So think of it this way: per month, you will get at least, let's target 4 hours worth of reading. hmm Something like that. So it could be a bunch of short stories, or maybe there's one long format novel that we're gonna have chapter per chapter. Let me double check something. Thank you says the story I'm working on is a noir detective murder mystery book. Seku, did you know that one of the tiers actually allows you to submit a story to me and I will read said story? So if and when you're interested and you finish what you're writing, I can give it a read. You'll know more about it if you join my Discord. Are you in it? Chat, if you look up here, that is actually my Discord link for you. You over at that other side. For you in widescreen land, just type exclamation point Discord. New haircut? Well, last I checked, my hair was still the same. Ah, you joined a bit ago, I see. Good morning, Anne. Today is Friday. One more day until the weekend. Also, academy paperwork and instruction manuals. That is true. That is within the scope of me reading things. Step 1: ensure that you are inserting the proper cable in the power supply. Do not power on the apparatus if you are feeding at the incorrect voltage. Something like that. You give me handsome villain vibes who plans cleverly in the background. I am not the type to solve problems using a hammer, chat. That is for sure. Brute force is never really the strategy I go for. Subterfuge, misdirection. Make the enemy work for you without them realizing. See you, Devi. I'll likely be ordering that headset in about 2 weeks. Thanks for suggesting it. Meta Quest Pro. If you can find a brand new one, congratulations. Hammer time. Ah. Bruce says, seeing my friend online in VR chat. Well, I can't hop on because my VR controllers are broken. I gotta wait till Saturday for the new ones. It's definitely a terrible feeling, isn't it? Definitely. Missing out. So much. You could be there keeping them company. But alas, hardware bars you from doing so. What is your persona's occupation? Micro is a scrub nurse. That is adorable. Tend to my injuries with your feathery mitts. Hmm. Ironic given a group of crows is called a murder. Me? As I've said, I go to strange places, events, and beings, and yet to know them, know more about them. That's what me and Vesper does. Or what is more interesting than normal? The extra normal. Phasmophobia. That's the supernatural, not really my department of expertise. Where did Vesper go? Had to go AFK. You can see her persona as an engineer. As it the goggles. Standard issue for protecting your eyes, really. Then again, it is my hobby to tinker around engines and machines. Just not my job. Mike says this isn't real, it's obviously fake. He's replying to comments that aren't even being said. Have you ever heard of multicasting? Are you Italian? No, I'm not. Well, my Sona can help if yours gets injured. Now you're making me keen to meet your would-be Sona once you have an avatar. Hmm. That pose is kind of cute. How about we make it cuter, Axiom? It's the behavior. Look at me. Where was that? The whole hopeful looking up thing. Was it this one? There you go. That's nice. Are you still in the cafe? Mm-mm. Not there any longer. How are your robotic friends? I was there 2 days prior. Oh wow. Oh, that district is definitely my home. New Avali Avatar released, by the way. Ah. Axim says, my pharma company, I shall supply the meds. So we have the nurse, we have the pharmaceuticals provided by Axiom. Mm, it's okay. Spike. Many make the same mistake. Yes, Irish. Who is this? Oh, still watching, is he? Come to think of it, haven't heard of Mecha in a while. That's true. Probably because of my streaming schedule. I usually go live on. Well, before last week, I was live around 7 or 8:30 a.m. my time. Funny, he might actually drop by if I continue on stream. But I have but 40 minutes left. Let's see. Who knows? Exodus is a rancher. I see. Mecha. Do you have full body? Yes, chat. See this? Yes. Yes, I have full body, even though I'm just sitting. Kind of like John Marston. John Marston. Oh, what's this? Legato subscribe for the first time. My goodness, we have another supporter on TikTok. Why, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the emotes. Tell me, Legato, what made you subscribe? I'm genuinely curious. I mean, I appreciate it wholeheartedly, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Beans. You just saw a rare sight, CQ. Because I'm bored and I love your content. Well, thank you. Really. I don't got beans, sadly. I have never really seen birds as somebody I would lay next to and share the same sheets with. What if they start having a fitful dream and they start kicking under the bed and they start giving me lacerations in my lower legs and possibly my thigh? What if they rupture my femoral artery with those talons of theirs? Yeah, it's always been in my thought. And Vesper's back. Yes, hi. Welcome back.
Hi.
So you entered the bathroom in the back? I get okay.
Sure.
Sure, sure, sure. Nah, she probably had to take a call, important agent stuff.
Hi, Joe.
So yeah. Hey Vesper, it's you. Fluffy girl, says Sayara. Oh, she looks nice, says Spike. So the number of admirers of Vesper grows even more so. It's hard not to. I agree with you guys. Mm-mm. Two thumbs up. Do you want to see more of Vesper chat? Maybe we put her behind the paywall. $5 for like 5 seconds of that's expensive, I say. The Vesper cam is gonna be paywalled from now on, chat. Yep, there you have it. I kinda wanna say the thing, Gib. What thing, Axiom? I am 100% a Vesper admirer, says CQ. Ah, the Vesper paywall. Mmm. Gotta put bread on the table, you know.
Axiom, don't you dare.
Oh, the one letter. Oh, Axiom, didn't you say you wanted to help test if my stream elements was working? You might get the pass to say it once. If you do. Well, Gebus merch. Ah, yes. If and when I sell merchandise, I will get smacked by so many avatar content like creators. If I'm gonna sell merch, it's probably going to be 3D printed the tie like this, or maybe a cloth version of it, and then the brooch and funny little stickers you can like put on your hand like this. Do you know those stickers where you plop it and then you like put like
Oh,
like
the fake
water on it? Yeah,
tattoos?
the fake tattoos thing. Yes, Spike. Yes, yes, indeed. I remember Gib having a glowing tie. Do you, Vesp?
Yeah, he's always had one. It's just tucked into his outfit right now.
Yeah, precisely. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's always been there. No, Spike. What's this? Out of respect for Vesper decline. Oh man, oh well. Guess I'm just gonna go play Baldur's Gate after stream. Not hang out anymore. Ah, so sad. Me and Vesper are gonna have so much fun together. Hours of gameplay. Hmm. Makes me remember the good old EDF used to play with somebody else. Driver says if we get Gib merch, it has to be the tie and the Gibby plushie. Tiki says, speaking of, I've been wanting to put a sort of emblem on one of my wings or talons, just unsure what it should be. You just doodle something that, as corny as it sounds, resonates with you. For example, like you draw a shape, you have two runes, right? One long rune. Maybe that shape resonates with you. I don't know. With Axiom, it surely does. Speaking of which, did you know it was Axiom's company that actually fabricated this brooch? He is actually affiliated with Vesper and I, yes. Axiom Atom is, again, I'll never tire of praising him as one of the closest people I trust and know. He may act silly and everything, but oh, the role in his friendship with me is most significant. Runes on my bird, please don't. Oh my goodness. Me being Filipino, if you say, I've got runes on my bird. Mm. If you know, you know. Hi there, Cloudy. I've seen runes on a dragon before. Oh, look at Vesper. I mean, that's not exactly the runes that you know, like the Nordic design, but she clearly has inscriptions on her body. It's just hidden by her clothing. But the one on her backhand is clearly plain for all to see.
Sure.
Siki wants some runes on his bird. I'm such a 12-year-old. Cut that, chat. Cut that. Says driver. Can you show to chat the Gabby plushie again so we can cry on us not being able to have one ever? Roots on my bird. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Vesper. Show the plushie. Okay, chat. Do you see that? Okay, okay. Let's go to Vesper Cam. Come on. So, yeah, there you have it, chat. That is affectionately called Nightlight, which is a small me, which also emits light.
I'm not gonna show that off on stream.
Yeah.
That's gonna mess with your lighting.
No, it's good. You can turn it on momentarily and then turn it off again. See, look at that. Look how it illuminates Vesper ever so faintly. But yes, there you go. Nightlight chat. Mini me. It even has recordings of my voice on it. But yes, those are exclusively for Vesper and a few other people. Why is it so cute? Steve, go to bed. I'm dying from her smile and eyes, says Spike. Ooh, flattery served in a silver spoon. But remember, paywall chat, your free trial has just ended. It'll be $5 for Vesper Cam from now on. It's cute, yes. The paywall is indeed back. Hmm. All right, that's why I swapped to my jacket. My collar crooks weird when I. Okay, I can already tell I'll be a regular on the streams on days I don't work. Where are you from, if I may ask?
Sorry, sorry.
Wow. Gas station cough.
At least I'm not a smoker.
That's true. America, okay. I want that plush, as Bruce. Unfortunately, I cannot redistribute it. Not from Ultra Kill Excellence. I just like having my coin around me. As always, a lot of curious viewers drop by right as I approach the tail end of my stream.
Oops.
I mean, I'm still here for 25 more minutes, so don't worry. You look comfortable. Oh, I am. Thank goodness there's guardrails here I can lean on. Oh my god, it's itchy. What is it? Go to bed, Spike. Not you. Thank you, elders. My cat is sleeping on my giant crow plush. You know, I'm curious, American viewers, what time is it most comfortable for you guys to be watching streams like this? Is it right after work, around 6 p.m., or is it somewhere around the tail end of your shift, like 3 or 4, or you're just burning hours until you log out? Did, did you catch that? It's actually midnight. For the European, same question. It's probably close to midnight your time, if it already isn't. Is this convenient for you guys? Having something to watch right before you fall asleep? Tiku says, for me, it depends on the day. If I work, if I have D&D, etc. I see. You usually stream around 1 p.m. PST. Ah, Pacific Standard Time. My time zone is +8 GMT. Good night, Spike. It depends on the day, says Amopoko. Regardless, I'll always tune in if I have time and see you live. Appreciate it. You don't even have to stay here more than 10 seconds. Just say hi. I like it when people say hello. It's 12:48 a.m. for me now. I have practice at okay. You know what to do. Close my tab. Rest. Don't let me get in the way of you getting some recuperation before your practice tomorrow. Tomorrow I get paid, so I'll most likely tip $500 by then. I look forward to that, CQ. I can't wait to put runes on my bird. Oh my god. Bruce says I do work on remote, so I don't really have to worry about missing it because I can watch it while working. Good for you. I'm not living this down, am I? No, I'm not. You want runes on your bird. I don't trust myself to just say hi and leave, says Amopoko. Your voice is so sultry and hypnotic. Sultry? My lack in proficiency towards the English language is apparently deemed as hypnotizing. My goodness. Is it that bad, Jan? Sarifi says, I love watching your streams whenever you do art. It's very calming the vibe. I hope you're making a most excellent piece. I wonder where it's going to be posted. Discord, DeviantArt, Fur Affinity, E6, that funny site. That was a joke, obviously. And you are getting BANNED. Come on. You know what to do, Vesper. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Oh, there was a guy who was spamming. He said, if anybody wants NSFW art, here is my Discord, DM me for portfolio. So, yeah, they're banned. So that's where we find the bird runes. Yeah. Exodus says, astronomy job lets me tune in before set up the telescope. You get paid for gazing at the stars? Wow. What a romanticized job. Yes. Wow. Wow. Do let me know if you see a constellation that has the similar pattern to my marking. Exodus. Imagine being paid for just peering towards the heavens. You're clearly looking at the mirror swooshing. Goodness me. 17 more minutes and I gotta go. Sly Sale says, I just found you and I really love the streams. Really calming while I play games. Ah, yes, your favorite streamer to have alt tabbed, I see. Instead of a boop, CQ, I think it would make a rather audible talk. hmm Have you ever tried knocking on a hollow log? Was trying to draw, then I hear Geb say MSG. Yeah, sure, MSG. Hello, Mono Aces. How are we all today? The streamer is doing just okay. He will probably go heat up some breakfast before socializing in VR. By socializing, I mean hanging around with two people. Probably Vesper and Axiom.
Axiom's always good company.
Yeah. Hi there, Skittles. Tiki over here is trying to think of what patterns, what runes to put on his bird. Why you look like that, Vesper? Let's see more
Why
Vesper
would I
chat.
look like what? Hi.
defaults to waving. Yes.
Yes, because I'm not sure what to do on camera.
You just be you, like what I'm doing.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
familiar face in Twitch chat.
who?
He knows who he is. Someone who just followed.
A friend of yours?
Mm.
Just dropping by to say hi. 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 Also, Lekato, thank you for the vibrant stage. Yes. Whoa, that's a lot of coins. I didn't notice. Thank you so much. Maybe if I see it a second time, I can confirm it's actually there. I'm joking. I'm joking. Must be strange, chat. My face is so close to you. If you're watching me via phone, I'm sure you were tempted to go like just press on this thing. Oh, there we go. Let's put it to Vesper.
Again?
Yeah.
Hi, Chad. Did you know that I'm the moderator between Twitch and TikTok?
So, chat, if you get banned, remember it's not, it's her. Okay. She's also like my HR. So, if there's any complaints and problems, you like go to her.
She's just gonna let me sit through it.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
Yeah, it's a rarity if I unban someone. Deb stress testing me with the camera.
Oh,
Isn't that right?
no. There. Fine. It's back. Shuckety shucks. She gives off a very businesswoman sort of vibe. I actually really find that hot. Attractive, yes.
You caught yourself off.
No, it's just I was leaning it was hot. Oh, the paywall has been
Mm.
dropped thanks to Exodus gifting 5 subs. 5 subs equates to 5 minutes divided by 10. There you have it. So there's 30 seconds of Vesper. Thank you so much. Big W for Exodus. Come on, Vesper. Thank Exodus.
Thank you. Might not be very good with thank yous, but still, thank you very much. Help support the stream. Help support the streamer, even though there's tips.
What?
And
I misheard that one.
shit. You interrupted me.
All right.
Even though you can use exclamation point tip
There
so
you
that there's
go.
no middleman getting in the way of the money.
Just the tip,
It
chat.
still helps a lot.
Exclamation point tip. Mm. Type exclamation point tip, and you get to support your streamer twice as much. Tip. Anywho, where were we? Exodus was asking for Vesper. Bad Life Advice Edition. Have you ever thought of streaming solo? That's an excellent question. What would be
Is
the
it
answer?
supposed to be bad life or actual,
Bad life, bad
or
life.
like bad life advice? Yes, I'm totally gonna make it out there.
Yep. Day
We
one
should be doing
stream, 5,000 viewers. Definitely. And all Vesper has to say is,
And I'll
ah. There you go, Chan. Hi there, Kiba. $7 minutes. Nice. Amazing. I now feel enlightened. Oh, did you inscribe the runes on your bird? Nah, that's probably where all the wisdom's coming from. Just, stick it out like that. And then like, put the funny shapes. The wings. Thank you, Pedrino. What? What? It's true though. He wants to draw runes on his bird.
Oh, that was my table. Ah,
My goodness.
that was my fist, not my controller.
You should, get some permanent Sharpie. The one like with like the metallic finish. Yep. And then you just like look down and then you start like, Yep, that's the right pattern. Oh, a little
Stop.
bit. No, I'm like, because when you draw on the tip of your wings, it's difficult. Because that's like where the weird thumb is. Oh, I'm thinking of bats. Hold on. It's even more difficult when you have no digits to hold the pen. So you're probably just gonna like, and then like bite the pen like this, and then like start like, yes.
I think we should leave poor Siku alone for a bit.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Welcome to the stream, CQ. I'm being targeted by the streamer. Can I see HR? There's HR. HR speaking.
Oh, no worries. I can just bonk.
Hey.
You're being mean.
Mm-mm.
I can't fix this.
Me. My goodness.
There, I don't know what I could do about him. I'm not his boss.
That's true. That's true. Nothing you can do. I'm picking on you.
It's all in good fun, no ill intent.
All in the name of good fun, chat. Oh, shucks. 5 minutes, huh? Whoa. The yawns. I'm gonna drink more juice. Go talk to HR while I drink, chat.
Hello again.
you gonna have for breakfast? Do you enjoy dad jokes and puns? Go ahead. Dad jokes. Do him for emotional distress.
He doesn't have money as is.
What do you expect me to do? Throw my coins at her?
You've already thrown your coins at me before, don't you dare.
I did.
You didn't ever play Catch the Coin?
Oh. Get him in jail for life.
By flinging it at me.
I'm kind of sort already in that. You see the thing on the back of our hands that kind of binds us together. As you can see, she has it.
Oh, what
too.
am I, a prison warden?
No, it just means we're soul bound. That I can like get some wet alcohol wipes and remove it if you want, though. And then next time you log in,
Don't
it's
you dare.
me. Don't read too much into it, yeah. If the coins is heads, you have to apologize for the bird ruined jokes. Wait, it was a joke? I thought you really wanted to like draw on your bird. Unless I was mistaken. It's true though. Look at chat. Draw on his bird. Oh, deep breaths again. Deep breaths. You know, I'm curious. Who's online? It's Mecha streaming today. It's time.
That I wouldn't know.
Pause and see who is streaming. Sana. Imagine having 25k followers. You have an audience of over 24 people. Oh, wow. And then, nope. That's a funny thumbnail. That's a very funny thumbnail. I'm looking at the VR chat and it's just me looking at you and me looking at the camera dubiously. Do I save that? Save images. Storm Wolf, really? That Storm Wolf?
Huh?
Oh, it's a different Storm.
I was about to say, I'd be pretty surprised if the creator of my,
Precisely.
well, Ace form is streaming. Considering they only dabble in avatars.
The bird ruin joke is gonna be clipped.
Oh no.
Oh, Kiba's asking Gebas,
Sorry,
how,
Siku.
how does your voice sound when you speak your native language? Let's give it a sample. Yung pananalita ko, paggamit ko ang aking sariling lingwahe ay ganito talaga ang tunog. Marami siguro sa inyo ang hindi nakakaintindi ng sinasabi ko, maliban na lang kung may Pinoy na nanonood. There, what I said was, this is how I sound like in my native language, and I bet a lot of you don't understand what I'm saying unless you yourself are Filipino as well. So yeah, my height is about 6'1". Hmm. Oh my goodness, will you look at the time, chat? We have just hit our 2 hours and 31 minutes, chat. I had just drank, literally, so it's Vesper who needs to hydrate. Vesper, go drink.
Alright, fine.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna mute those so you don't hear me chuck.
How did she just gulp like half a liter of water in one go? Hmm. Kim, do you always stream at this hour? Yes, I do. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on let's make it 3 a.m. plus 8 GMT. A little after lunch for the Americans. A little before midnight for the Europeans. I'll see you around, guys. Good luck at work. See you, Mono Aces. To wake up at 3. Nah, I have a rather peculiar sleeping schedule. But night owl, you say? Anyway, TikTok chat, I will be seeing you around. Bye. Super quick exit. So yeah, here. So you can see Vesper. Now Vesper say goodbye to TikTok. No, no,
Bye,
no.
chat.
There you go.
Oh, bye, chat.
I needed to end TikTok because it was overloading my encoder. So much funny things going on. Besides, the chat quality was absolutely atrocious. Now, I get to focus solely here on you guys. Twitch, my beloved. Oh, seems Gus is here as well. And Discord, welcome. Wow, you're 38. There you go. So we have Uncle Gus. Oh, even Kiba Winchester. Say yes. Kiba Winchester. Let's see. Somebody has not filled up their introductions, I see. Kiba, come on. You read the handbook, right?
Siku as well.
Yes, you too, Siku.
Come on.
If and
Alright,
when you
good.
join the server, you have at most a day to fill in your introductions. Because if you don't fill your introductions, it means you didn't read the handbook, which is the server rules. And if you don't, you may find yourself not being in the server anymore. I have a very simple rule, that's all. Also, you gotta be 18 or above if you want to join. No funny NSFW stuff there. I just don't want to manage kids.
Exactly.
Anywho, hold on. It's Matthew. Hello, Armanuel. It seems a lot of you are just having a difficulty guessing the proper password to type in. It's right there. It's under your noses. Look, some of the members that joined were able to guess it at the first go. You take music suggestions that fit the stream vibe. Yeah, just DM it to me. Somebody gave me a playlist on Spotify and I actually really like it. BRB so I can focus on my intro. Alright, CQ. Oh, Pollo Dalmatians. Alright, time to get copyright strike and stop playing my royalty free music. Oh, Pollo. What is this thing? What's the spelling? Oh, wrong spelling. Oh, po. It's not upo. Po. I don't see them on Spotify. Perchance the spelling is incorrect. Driver, if you save up long enough, you'll probably be able to redeem what you want to redeem. The Vesper, you don't even need the Zennies. What do you need them for?
Just hoarding them.
Hoarding them, chat.
I'm a dragon. What do you expect? What do you expect?
Yeah,
I gotta
fair.
hoard something. They
Very
can't
fair.
occupy a lot of space.
I am not even gonna entertain that. Yeah, there we go. Anywho, here I am lingering yet again. Chat, today is not going to be one of those streams where I actually like super extend. Should I call it a day here, Vesp?
I think so.
Probably should.
Seems
The
like
next,
you're pretty hungry.
yeah, I'm actually kind of hungry. Next stream you see me doing will probably be with enhanced hardware, that's for sure. Welcome back, CQ. But you know what? Hold on, let's look at the profile before I go so we can judge CQ's thing. All right.
Thank you for filling out your introduction, Siku.
So
And thank you as well to Kiba, Gus, and Louis.
Louis, there we go. Yep, Kiba with a huge doodle. English and Espanol. CQ is CQ. CQ, sorry. He's 22 years of age, capable of both laying eggs and not. D&D, retro gaming, Lego, role playing. I am looking to become a scrub nurse. I've only recently decided on that, so okay.
Oh, and good luck.
Yes. Yes, I read your bios, chat. I actually am very meticulous of who and who doesn't introduce themselves in the server. Because it's part of the rules. Private said it already arrived. Last time I asked him about the new hardware, he said it'll take at least 2 months. Oh, that's different. It's just one of the new hardwares. The big one is like the thing is 2 months away. Oh, it's Axiom. I thought Axiom fell asleep.
Oh.
Oh, if it isn't Neon, hi there. Good morning. How are ya? I haven't heard from you in a week. Join with the Nardo 3.1. Sure, Axiom.
Oh.
That's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Survive
Hey, you're always
exams.
welcome.
Congratulations.
Oh, congrats, Neon. Yeah.
There we go. As you can see. Yes. Now it's time to go back and work on art, Neon. Gotta work on that VN of yours. And that funny little side project you showed me. I really like the sprites that you've done. But yeah. Let me just cross my. What's this? I love the ears. Airplane ears I can do. I mean, when I do this, yeah, I often like rest my hands on like my head, so. Hmm. First stream, I'm already gonna have a notoriety for the runes. I shall now call you Rune Crow. That's cooler. The Crow of Runes. He who squiggles with his beak on his bird. Yes, there we have it. The bird squiggler, yep. Anywho, I have been delaying. Chat, it's been lovely. So, I think it'll see you guys day after tomorrow, right? Well, maybe day after tomorrow. I forgot I don't stream on weekends. You're gonna see me again on Monday, my time. Probably Sunday, your time. So, Rune Crow, that's cool. Rune Crow. Rune Crow. Don't clip that. I'm gonna ban you. So, anywho, yes, lovely having you as company, chat. I will see you Monday, my time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Be good out there, okay? See ya, chat. Till next time.